We are live. Let me open up the Q&A chat and this chat. See, every time I get ready for a lunch and learn, I always feel like I'm streaming on Twitch or something. I have to be like, hey, y'all, well, thank you for coming to lunch and learn. If you can like, comment, subscribe, helps with the pesky YouTube algorithm. If you subscribe for, I don't know, was it $4.99 a month, then you get a cool emoji that's the decisions emoji, right? Emoji, right? Isn't that how Twitch goes, guys? Right? Come on, attendees, right? I'm not crazy. That's how it goes, no?
Yes, I know it's not.
Alrighty, let's see, Q&A. All right, attendees, thank you so much for coming. This is today's Lunch and Learn. You don't have to like, comment, or subscribe. I was just being goofy. But if you have any questions, feel free to write it in the webinar chat or the Q&A portion, and I will do my best to answer it or demonstrate it. Or if all else fails and I need some time to build something, I will build it offline and I'll send you guys an email with the thing I've built or what I find from interfacing with some of the core dev team. So feel free to populate your questions. I don't know if we had any pre-subs. Let me check. Dun, da, da, da. All right, where is... I have so many channels I'm a part of. I always forget which one it is. Oh, we updated it 2024. Hey, okay. Let's see. Any pre-subs, or I can do a shout out to my coworker Sabrina, who's just right across from me over there, and I could just ask Sabrina, any pre-subs today? No pre-subs today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got no pre-subs for today. I feel like I'm a game show host. Sorry, there's nothing behind door number 1. There's no $1,000 or a trip to Tahiti, so none of that stuff. All right. Comments, questions. No comments, no questions. Okay. Let's see if there's something fun that I could demonstrate or just talk about a little bit. I had an idea the other day about something interesting to build. Oh wait, we got a Q&A question. We'll have to wait on that. Peyton asked, I want to populate totals onto the collapsing group rows in a report. Is there some way to do that? I'm going to put you off mute, and could you expound upon that for me?
Yeah. So I have a report where I currently have totals per collapsed group. It's just by user. So each group is a different user. They each have totals underneath them. But what I want to do is to put those totals onto that collapsed row. So so what I'm doing is showing just their name on that collapsible row right now. But I want to be able to see all their totals underneath it as well for each of the columns.
Oh, okay. I think we can do that. I'm going to share a different screen. Screen 2. So essentially, the short answer to this is you'll be utilizing, I'm just going to run this. You'll be utilizing the totals inside the report designer. Does that sound familiar, where there's a results kind of box where you can calculate results and stuff? Does that sound familiar to you? No is an acceptable answer, so it's okay if you don't.
Not at the moment, no.
Sweet, I love it, because now this will be helpful. All right, so I'm going to say this is like report metric stuff. And I will demonstrate to you. So how we do this is in the report designer, there is a specific thing called, I think it's just called the results category. And you can use that to calculate different results. And that also can be applied to the different groups that are residing on it. So I'm going to demonstrate this to you. So let's see, what kind of data do I have? Let's do counts. There we go. So I'm going to create a really quick report. And I'm just going to do a report over the accounts, because that's just kind of like the easiest report that we all have in our decisions database. So accounts report, and I'm actually going to call it mine, JROD accounts report. All right, I'm going to pick the data source, and we're going to go to email address. I think there's is active. That's what I want, because that one's different. Haha. All right, so what you can do here is I'm going to group by the is active, right? Because I got a nice spread of data, or a little bit of a spread of data, where I have the guest account, which is by default deactivated, and I have the trues, which is all the accounts that are active. So let's say I wanted to do that kind of calculation for a group thing, right? So over here on the right, it's called results. So on results, I can have a subtotal, and your subtotal can be a sum, it could be an average, it could be just a generic count. I'm just going to show the count one. It's going to be the same process if we did it the other way. So I'm going to choose the field. In this case, the field that I want is active, and I think this is it. I may be forgetting something, but let's try it. So if I do this and I add count as is active, and if I refresh this, oh, I didn't save it. No, darn it. This is why you save, folks, because it will not save it. All right, so let's do this one more time. So email address is active. I have to group over this, and then I'm going to scroll all the way down, select the report, results, subtotals. I'm going to grab the is active. This is going to be number of active accounts. Do it this way. I want to save this. Now I want to run this. And now over here on the right, you can see in the header, I have number of active accounts and number of active accounts here with the number. So if this was like a decimal value where you wanted to do like, total cost of purchase requests that are in started or completed, you would just use the sum function instead, and then it would display here.
Yeah, I think I did find this method before, but I really want it to be so I have 12 different columns that I'm going to be doing this on. And I kind of
Mhm.
want those amounts to not have a title in front of it and just to be under the correct column.
Under the correct column.
So like instead of it being on the far right like that, it just
Mhm.
being directly under is active.
Oh, so you want it to be like here, like placed right
Yeah.
there.
And then just be one.
Oh, I see. So some parts of this, let's see, we can mess around with this a little bit. I'm gonna clear off my doodles, close this. So I wonder if I can give this, does this need to have a name? It does. Can I do a space? Okay, no, it has to have a name. So this has to have a name on it. Sure, we'll just put test, because that's gonna show up as test. Now, if you wanted to move it, let me see if there's any views. Okay, so so it has to have a name there. So that's gonna be just what has to be set to it. Um, duh, 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 duh. I'm trying to think if there's any other way to move it. So if I go to settings, default data view, because I don't think there's a way to move that unless you want to write your own CSS. Stuff like that with the UI there, you can move that with CSS by messing with the margins and then sliding it over. But that would be like the hard way to do it. So we got that. I wonder if can add a calculation column or calculated column. I wonder if there's a way I can figure out how to do that. Add fields. Let's get day of the week. Image URL. That's just a yes or no. Add fields. Yeah, so I don't think there's an easy way to do it out of the box. I think what you can do with both of these is if you really want to move this. Oh, that's not what I do. I'm taking a screenshot. I want to go to annotate. If you really wanted to do this, you would write CSS to remove this or hide this text, and then you have to use the margins to shift it all the way to, where it's over, that column.
Okay.
But I don't think
Yeah.
there's no easy way to do it.
I know I've seen somebody do it before, but just didn't have the access to how they did. So CSS
Mhm.
might just be the answer to it.
Do you know who did it? Because maybe I might be able to get in contact with them.
It was somebody internally in our or my company, so just have
Oh,
to
okay,
kind
I
of
gotcha.
figure out who it was.
Gotcha. Yeah, most likely probably do it through CSS. But if you do find out how they did it, please let me know because I'd love to learn about it.
Of course.
Awesome. All right, cool. That's that question. I'm going to close out of this. Close out of this. All right, let's go to the next Q&A one. All right, Carter said, I have a property on my case entity that is an account type variable. That property is randomly getting cleared out without any workflows getting ran. What could be causing this? Also, I have an active form flow that is on a form that is displayed in a flow run part. Debugging the flow run part does not show the active form flow is triggering, even though the active form flow is set to run on an outcome that is linked to the button. What is the best way of finding out why the active form flow isn't running? I'm getting the following error. Error in flow request update linked flow step in flow name error running link step within flow. This error is occurring when I bring the active form flow out of the flow. And then you run the active form flow after the form has closed. I'm gonna put you on. Let me allow you to talk. Could you expound
All right,
upon
appreciate it.
this? Yeah.
Yeah, so two separate questions. The first one's just that property on the case entity just randomly going to null. Like I set up, I ran through my process, populated it at like 2, and by 5 it was gone, and I wasn't working in decisions at all between then. Is there any reason that would be cleared out? I've already checked to see if it's tied to a session. I've logged out, logged back in, gone into a different a private browser, an incognito browser. It's still there.
Sure.
But not sure why.
Account type. So I'm trying to make sure I understand this. So you have a casing that's storing like a user email or something?
We have, I don't know if it's decisions native or if it's a variable type that we've set up. But the like as opposed to like string or integer, it's an account. And so it has all of the account information, their email, their account ID, their first name, last name, etc.
Okay. Gotcha. Is there any part of the process where that's getting overwritten, like where you have it? Because typically, things that I would check for is you want to check to make sure there's no other steps that are maybe changing that value to change it to run as initiating user, right? And the reason why is because there's certain things like end steps, I mean end forms, excuse me, that will change the user context from the actual initiating user to system. So you may start the record and may be saved as Will Clemens, but when it hits maybe the 5th state in your process that says, hey, grab this and change the value to initiating user, then it actually will flip it to the system context, and then maybe it will lose its context. That could be happening. But that's one thing that could do.
No flows run between creating and populating and it being gone. I'm the only person working in this workspace.
So how can we verify that? Like there was no scheduled jobs or anything running or?
Right.
Can we? I would say the next step we would have to verify that, because typically those behaviors, there's something that flipped on it. Either a property has changed, or there's something that removed it.
Yeah, I was also on the phone with our admin yesterday, and he said he couldn't find anything in the log saying that the property was updated.
Property is updated. So you have a case ending that stores that. That'd be something I would actually say that would be a support ticket to the support team to have them take a look at that, because they typically shouldn't disappear at all. Or another workaround you can do, if you don't want to store the whole entire composite type of the decisions account type, then what you can do is you can store just the ID of the account ID, and then in your process you just fetch that record by that ID, and then you can get it that way. That's a workaround. But to actually, I think, diagnose like why that's happening, you'd have to. I think it would be a support ticket for that one.
All right, sounds good. The second one is just an active form flow that's not triggering, and I'm not sure why. It's set to, the active form flow is set to run on the outcome of a button, a link button. But when I debug, it's not showing that active form flow is triggering, and the only way I get the error message that I put in the chat was if I put a subflow on this test flow that I have. The test flow displays the form. Once you hit the button, it closes the form and then supposed to trigger the active form flow. And then I get that error. But if I don't have that in there, that active form flow doesn't run at all.
So I'll just create a couple of active form flows. Maybe this will be a good demonstration. Active form flow tests. All right, I'm going to create text box. Let's just do some data. All right, got this. So we got active form flows. So we test active form flow. So we have it. How is your trigger set up? You have it running on is it a link button or is it actually the outcome button?
It's a link button.
It's a link button. So it's this thing.
Yes, let me just verify that. Just make sure I'm not telling you wrong.
Sure. Oh man, I didn't save my active form flow. Silly me. Test 2.
Yeah, silver hyperlink button is the Explorer name for that.
Silver.
Go to Explorer tab under Toolbox.
Yep. Okay, good. Got
Yes.
the right one.
Okay, perfect.
So we got the link button, and so you want active form flow to run when someone clicks on this link.
Correct.
What does the active form flow do? I'm just curious what the functionality.
It uses regex to take a property from the case entity, parse it into our email format, and then send out an email.
Where are you getting the email from? Is it from the initiating user or?
I'm creating the email. So I have a property that populates from our Azure DevOps instance onto the case entity. And I've got a separate table that shows which case entity I should be looking at. I reference that table and then say, okay, this is the case entity. And then I get the case entity details. I get that specific property and its first name, last name, and all of our emails are first name dot last name at our domain.
Sure. I gotcha. So what is the functionality of the link?
The link is just a button for them to click so that, right, it's going to say request update. And then that's going to get the case entity details and say, hey, this person clicked this link. Please provide them with an update on this case entity.
Okay.
It's going to send an email to the project owner.
Link text, gotcha. Okay, so it's basically just for initiating. All right, so let's say, I want to see if I can make that. So if I do active, or just, I'm just gonna do get current user, get current account. Output current account framework. Okay, cool. Let me go back to that. Let's see, and you have it run for, so this is an outcome button? Really?
Yeah.
I guess I don't think it makes sense to me. All right, let's create a flow real quick. Test flow. Show form, and we're gonna go here, and here. Boom. Okay, so yeah, it's just a button link. Is this you want it as an outcome path, or you want it just as a URL link that they click on?
I really don't care if it's an outcome path or not. It's going to be inside of a flow run part, and so nothing needs to happen after it.
Gotcha.
Just something needs to happen when they click it, and the link button is the display that I want them to see.
Interesting. What do you know? Do you happen to know what version you're running of Decisions?
Let me check.
Because I wonder. Wait, let's go into this flow. I said get current user, and I'm actually just show a pop-up for me.
8.12.1.
8.12, okay. 8.12.1. Subject will be get current account. Email address. It's gonna be like hello. Specify the user. I'm gonna say the admin, so I'll always get it. Okay, because wait, and I think wait, I just want to make sure the sanity check here, right? So I clicked run this on outcome buttons for the link. We all saw. I'm not losing my mind. So now I'm just going to verify what my version is. I'm on 8.17, but I think I had the same behavior you had. So notice I click on this link, it goes down the path, but my active form flow was not run. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to connect this path here. Basically, what I'm thinking is I wonder if this is just a bug in these two versions. But to confirm that, I want to see what happens if I change the trigger to be run on the outcome button. I want to see if that runs it. So now whether I click on either of them, that should run it. All right, we'll test some data. There we go. Okay, so I think if you switch, so it doesn't need to be a link. It could just be a generic button, right?
Yeah, the link was just for like formatting and display purposes. That's how I want it to look.
Gotcha. Okay, I wonder if I can change this. See if I can format it differently. I think there's a bug with this thing. Because notice, right? I have it set. I can confirm that when I click on this link, my active form flow doesn't run. You don't see the pop-up. And then when I debug this and I hit the button, right, you can see that my active form flow ran, even though, right, I messed up. I messed it up. So I'm confident if you switch it to a button, that will work. But what I want to see is if there's another way we can get this as a workaround for you, because this is definitely, I think there's a bug with this link button. What you could do is there's another type of button. And you don't need the outcome path, right? I'm just trying to make sure I understand, right? Okay, you don't need the outcome. So there is another button. I mean, that's kind of confusing. There's another button, it's kind of like a suit. There's just so many buttons, you don't know where they all go. But anyway, there's an event button that you could use. And the reason why I say we can use this is because you can specifically tie that to an active form flow. And because we don't need the outcome path, this doesn't generate one, but all you need to do is you can say, hey, I want that whenever someone clicks this button, I want to run X, Y, and Z process. So let's try this. Click here, right? I'm going to raise the event. Boom, it ran. Okay, cool. Now, you pick the link because you like the formatting. So another reason why I suggest the event button is because you can change the view. Can you? I thought you could. Hold on. Or is there an event link? Let me just type event. Okay, there's an event link. Excuse me. My goodness, so many different things, right? I thought it was the same button, but that's confusing. So I believe event hyperlink. And what I can do is I'm going to set it to that event hyperlink. Click OK, and let's test to make sure that works. Raise it. Boom, that one. So I think if you switch to that one, I think it'll work. And I don't know why we have that link button, to be honest, because well, I guess it's just to navigate to the outcome path, but it's definitely that's definitely a bug in both our versions. So I'll make sure I get that reported. Will Clemens, could you make a note of that and get that DT submitted?
Absolutely.
Thanks, man. Because yeah.
All right, perfect. So, I'll get that changed to event link.
Yep. There you go, Jeremy. Look at that. Two great minds think alike. Yes. Jeremy, didn't you think the event button is just changeable? Like I can use the event button and change it. Like I thought in older versions, I thought there was a setting you could just say make it a link or an image or something. And maybe I'm thinking of the sub dialog button, which I know that one does it that way. I just thought the what do you call it? That is what I'm thinking of the sub dialog button. Okay, that's what I thought. Because I know with this one, you could change it. You can't change it. Okay, I made it up. I thought that these three were one control and that you just said, this is the view I want, but I made it up apparently. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that could be true. Maybe it's a page. Now I'm curious. You got me on this trail. Let's check it out. I'm curious if I create a page. That's right. Form, page, test page. Page. Nope. Event button. I guess there's no event button. That makes sense. Navigate is the link. Navigate is button. Yeah, probably not a page. I thought there was. Navigation. There's a back button. Incremental search. Navigation tree. That isn't like, oh, you look at that. You're right. Yep. You can have different button, image. Okay, yeah. You're right. I was thinking of a page. I wonder why the form isn't that way, because it would just be nice if it was that way as well. But I might put that as like a feature request. But yes, you are correct. I was thinking of the page. Cool, cool. Any other questions? Simon, you got any questions? All righty. Any question? All right. I don't see any questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it so we can get this mixed, so we can have that on YouTube for Carter's question, and have it uploaded there. So thank you so much for attending. I'll be hosting tomorrow's Lunch and Learn, so don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll see you guys next time.